Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you guys about the natural hair movement and the advancements it's made in the United States in the last 10 to 15 years. But I believe that in order to fully understand the ideals that have helped to shape this movement, we have to go back a little bit further to the American slave trade before we fast forward to the now and examine how advancements in social media and the social sciences have helped to shape this movement as well. Now I'm going to start off this presentation with a question, and if it seems like a trick question, it's because it is. So, which Viola is better? I know what you're thinking. It's the exact same woman with almost identical makeup, and the only real visible difference is her hair. In the first picture, her hair is straightened, and in the second, it's in its natural form. But if we were to look at the comments underneath each individual picture, we would see that they are worlds away from each other. Under the first picture, we have really positive comments. We have people talking about how beautiful she is and how amazing she looks. And underneath the second, we have not so nice comments. We have people saying things like, is that a man or a orangutan? We have things like, she needs to fire her stylist. We have things like my favorite one, ill, which is really short and to the point. And what I found to be most disturbing about these comments was the fact that a majority of them came from African American women. And what that tells me, and what that should tell you, is that despite the advancements that have been made in this movement, there is still a negative stigma that is attached to natural hair. And this is a stigma that comes from the American slave trade and what the Black community has termed to be slave naps. So what exactly are naps? In his book, Historicizing the Afro, Robin Rogers defines naps as black hair that is devoid of any of the harmful chemicals found in relaxers that destroy the hair's natural texture. Going by this definition, naps do not seem like a bad thing. So that still is with the question, where does the stigma come from? Well, Ayanna Bird explains in the book Hair Story, Untangling the Roots of Black Hair in America, that during the time of the American slave trade, the only way that slaves were able to comb out their hair was through the use of a sheep fleece carding tool, which is pictured right there. And they would use this tool to comb out their hair, and that led to the development of lice in their hair. And it was this that sort of led to this stigma in which natural hair in the Black community became like synonymous with being bad and became synonymous with being dirty. And this is a stigma that has stayed in this community for hundreds of years after the fact. Now, the natural hair movement aims to sort of turn the stigma on its head, and it does this with the help of social media. Social media is responsible for igniting the natural hair movement. What it does is it creates a safe space for young girls and women to sort of go out and share their experiences and share their stories with people who are supporting and people who are encouraging, and it allows them like a representation that they don't really have in mass media. In mass media, we're sort of bombarded with images of Black women who are striving for whiteness. We have people like Beyonce who are straightening their hair and who are adding extensions to their hair or bleaching their hair. But in social media platforms like Pinterest and YouTube and Tumblr, we're celebrating women like Janelle Monáe and Viola Davis who are embracing their natural hair. And another development that has sort of led to the advancement of the natural hair movement are the developments being made in the social sciences. Basically, as Susan Bordeaux explains in her book, Feminism, Western Culture, and the Body, social sciences have a tendency to sort of view Black women in the role of the oppressed and not the liberated. And it's only until recently that they've been able to tell the story of natural hair, because the natural hair movement sort of prides itself on the empowerment and the liberation of Black women. And that's not a story that they've been willing to tell. It's only now that they're looking at it as more than just a fad and more than just a passing fashion statement. Now they're looking at it as something that is essential to Black culture. Now, I feel like I've left you with this like, so what question? Why is this important? It's just hair. And I think that's where you're wrong. To me, this movement is important to me because it's more than just hair. It's a group of women coming together and sort of telling their story and reclaiming their history and their culture. I think Day Sherry says it best in her book, The Economics of Hair, that too often Black women the stories of Black women are sort of stolen from them, and they're wrongfully framed by the media or they're co-opted by other groups. And this movement is the exception to that rule. This is a movement that is state-centered on the contributions of African American women, and that's what makes it important. They are coming together and they're telling their story and they're sort of declaring their Blackness, and they're denouncing the isms that have crippled them for hundreds of years. And that's what makes this movement one that I think is worth supporting. Thank you.